Back. This is the eSports Report presented by Xbox One. Puckett and Mr. X here today in our New York City studios. MLG's got the Pro League Relegation tournament coming up at the end of February. Qualifiers going down all this week. And I know you started off with the qualifiers on Monday. Before we get to the results of that, why don't you go ahead and break down what is the Relegation tournament and what's the qualifier schedule?
All right, so we'll start with the open qualifier, which already happened. Just kind of break down what went on with that. That was the 9th and the 10th of February. That was open to anybody.
Everyone could
sign up for that. I believe it was 30 credits per person to sign up. Best of 5 series was the final. Best of 3 all the way up until the final.
Okay.
And the winner of that, only the winner, went on to the relegation tournament, which will happen at the end. So tonight starts our regulation tournament for pros. So you have to have one pro on your team in the top 100 in pro points to qualify for that one, I believe.
Top 100 player on your team guaranteed.
Right.
Okay.
And I believe it's free to enter. Everything's a best of 5. The top 3 teams from that will move on to the relegation tournament.
Okay. So got to have a pro, but anyone else can join. I'm wondering, how many of those teams do you think will have just one pro? Are you expecting most of these squads to be full pro?
Most of them have full pros. I think when I checked the bracket last, there was 81 teams signed up. You can see that's the actual format right there. But I think that we will see, mostly those teams made up of pro players.
Okay. So it's going to be on game battles tonight.
Yep.
It starts off at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
And you're going to play until there's just 3 teams left.
Yes, well, tonight they'll play up until a certain point, and then tomorrow
it picks up again?
Pick up again.
All right.
Don't know what round they're going to.
Makes sense to me. First one was best of 3s the whole way.
Yep.
Tonight, best of 5. So just like the online qualifier, we're giving all the teams a 5-game series. No flukes.
Nope.
Making sure the best of the best get through. Who are some of the big names? Who are the best that are playing tonight and tomorrow?
Some of the big names to look out for, Strictly Business.
Strictly Business falling just short.
Right. FaZe Black lost last time too. So that's something to look out for. Orbit, they're going to be playing tonight. Twiz and Sin playing with that lineup. Then you're going to look at Stunner, Perplexed, and Vexed. I believe they are playing with TCM and Temp. They're not playing with Fears and Legal, as Fears and Legal already are in the league with Prof, so I don't know how that's going to work. They can't actually, Fears and Legal actually can't play. You have to be designated as a sub to play in one of these, so they couldn't actually participate.
Got it.
And then I note Below Zero, we saw them qualify for Champs, the regionals, out of our online qualifier 2. They'll be playing tonight. And then along with Resurrection of Cole Chan, making a team coming back.
Cole Chan?
Yeah.
Coming back. All right, so let's start off at the top here. You can give me 3 teams. Who is Matt Morello, Mr. X, expecting to make it through to the relegation tournament to play against the bottom 4 from season 1?
Well, we already have Team Revenge.
Revenge came.
Revenge is already in, so they're obviously going to take one spot. Out of these teams,
Nagafen, Facento is on that now, right?
Yep. So that's their team. They're already in. They actually beat Strictly Business and FaZe Black the other night in the first qualifier.
They beat them both?
Yes, they beat them both.
Wow. And this is a team that is locked in for COD Champs.
Right.
And a regional.
Yes.
So
they got through the first qualifier.
This Team Revenge squad,
very talented,
making moves this week. Not only a regional finalist, but also could potentially be making it into season 2.
It's basically Facento and then Crimsix's Destiny raid friends.
Okay. Is that how you described it?
Yeah.
I like that.
He was very angry. I think they lost to them at Orlando, and he's like, I lost my Destiny raid group.
Jesus.
Crim, obviously. Pretty angry. I think Strictly Business, Stunner, and FaZe Black get in. Don't think that's really much of a shock tonight.
Who's on the Stunner lineup for you?
Stunner is going to be a Stunner for this tournament.
For this tournament.
It's going to be TCM, Temp, Perplexed, and Vex. They had a pretty odd showing the other night. Definitely think that they come out better today.
Okay. Perplexed and Vexed. Be kind of weird if they didn't make it in.
It would
kind of expect those names to be there now.
Right. Vex took some time off, though. Took a little bit of time off after Orlando. Didn't really even know if he was going to be playing for Champs. That they kind of had to force him to get on to play for Champs. So
the hell's wrong with you, Vex?
I know. That's what I said. But he's going to be playing, trying to get in season 2. A little bit rusty. If you told me one team would slip out of that, it would either be Stunner or FaZe Black.
But FaZe Black. So talk to me about this lineup. Proofy playing alongside Study, and then we have Apathy and Censor.
Yes, Proofy, since coming over to FaZe Black's, really kind of transformed himself, gone back to that slaying role. Obviously, I think he was kind of stuck in Optic Nation, kind of got used to doing that kind of support role that he was on Optic Gaming, brought a little bit of that to Optic Nation, but that's not what they needed out of him. And, back on FaZe, the organization, again, he's going to be going back to that Slayer role. He's been playing phenomenal lately. I think the key for this team, though, is apathy. So there are some times where he plays a little bit up and down, but apathy at times looks like he's one of the best players in the game, just always playing at a phenomenal level.
When I look at this squad, my biggest fear is communication.
Yes, that's a huge one.
When I think about it, apathy can just shut down and be quiet.
Yep.
He can also be fired up and get everyone pumped. Sensor, I think we're nonstop going to hear him talking in the booth, but is he the only voice? Do you expect Study and Proofy? How vocal are these guys?
Proof is very vocal. Proof talks the entire game. Same with Study. I think the one to look out for is apathy, like you said. He needs to keep that communication high, needs to keep going. It can't just be Doug in the booth, being the one that's excited, being the one leading the charge. I think, everybody needs to step up in that. And obviously, you've played competitive games before. You have that one teammate who doesn't call out. Everyone starts to, yo, Puckett, call out. Come on, what are you doing?
Sorry, man, sorry.
And then you're worried about other people. You're not actually doing what you need to be doing. So then it becomes a big circle of a blame game. So you can't really get started with that. This is a team, though, they went final map with a team in the second round of that previous qualifier. So they did not look very good in that one.
A little scary, guys.
Yes.
A little scary. FaZe Black, you got a month and I believe 17 days now to get your ish together. Yeah, I think it's maybe 15 days, something like that, before COD Champs. But this is the first step, I think, for them. So
it's coming quick.
So we got FaZe Black, Strictly Business, Stunner Gaming. Orbit is Twiz, Sin, Lawless, and a guy named Precisely. Have you even heard of Precisely? I can't remember a single tournament casting that gamer tag.
Nope. Neither can I. Obviously Sin had a pretty good run as the sub for Optic Nation for a little bit. I know kind of after that went off the radar, but now playing with Twiz again, with former teammates getting back under that Orbit brand. I think definitely look out for them in this tournament. Lawless, a very underrated player, was with Aware during the season. They started off hot, looked very good. Then he kind of fell out of place, got benched. Now you're looking to see him make a comeback.
And these are 3 of the 4 players from their qualified team for the NA Regionals. Accuracy was their 4th instead of Precisely. So if this team goes through, I would not be surprised to see an early trade in the season to get Accuracy for Season 2.
Right. Accuracy on Aware. He's a starter, so can't play in this tournament. So that's probably why they're going with Precisely.
Okay, looking at our other squads, Below Zero, I think, deserves a shout-out. We got Wolf playing with Reppin, Godlike, and Assault. This is a team that I think is kind of like Revenge. You're not expecting them to do anything, but I wouldn't be really surprised if they were able to sneak in for that 3rd spot.
On a good day, they can beat one of these teams. Let's say Strictly Business has an up and down day. They get matched up against the Below Zero. I think Below Zero could potentially take that series.
It's definitely a CTF and an uplink back-to-back against them.
But, you look at them, they're going to be going up against some tough competition. Also, not on, we have Resurrection of Cole on our list. It's going to be Baker, Colchan, Aries, and God CBN. Know a little bit about Colchan, former player on Stunner. When I was predicting Stunner top 8 at Columbus, he was on that team. Then Baker.
He left the team, and then they started finishing top 8.
Baker, obviously.
Sorry, Colchan.
I could just destroy you.
Dickmove.com.
And then Baker, another player we've seen at numerous events, some pretty good placings. Surprised we didn't have Fear on our list. Fear will be playing.
Fear, okay. Yes. They played as Dominant 1 through the qualifier for North American Regionals. Assassin is back.
Yep.
And
they had a different team.
Trev was on that squad.
See, they had a different team than they had in their Champs qualifier.
Okay.
In their online one. They went out really early the other night.
Huh.
They went out 2nd round, I believe.
Wonder will they mix it up?
Struggled a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if tonight they're signed up with their Champs qualifier team because they played pretty well.
Did they? Okay.
Yes.
And then, of course, we're going to see our bottom 4 teams from Season 1. They have to defend themselves in the relegation tournament. It's going to happen after the Season 1 playoffs before we kick off Season 2. Optic Nation bombed in Season 1. They've already made changes for the Call of Duty Championships. They're playing with Killin' Miracles, joining TP and Karma on that roster. Is that the Optic Nation we're going to see in this relegation tournament?
I'd fully expect it to. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. I think it definitely will be. I know with Killin' Miracles, they've been playing very well lately. You can't say they looked like the Optic Nation of old. I think Kill is a huge part in that, brings a little bit of that in-game leader. I think they miss that one player who, when it gets into that tough round situation, who's going to make that call? That not the most vocal. Karma doesn't want to really never really wanted to do it. Karma's the type of player that he expects everybody else to play at the same level that he does. Doesn't really
just know what to do.
Right, just know what to do. I don't have to tell you what to do. And I think when it came down to those, 5-5 rounds, what should we do? They didn't have anyone who wanted to go out on that limb, make that call, make that tough decision. I think with Killa, they definitely get that. Killa
going to be the shot caller. We saw how this team was working out in the Call of Duty Championships qualifier. TP has become a slayer in the uplink game. We saw his job was to simply hold purple the entirety of the game. He did it from both sides on Biolab. And he put up, I think it was 39 kills, very few deaths, very successful in that slaying role as Killa took care of all the objective work. So I'm excited about this new Optic Nation team. Originally, when I saw it on paper, I was like, are you kidding me? But after watching them play, this team definitely meshes better than the Season 1 lineup that we saw.
Oh, without a doubt. This team meshes very well. In all their tournaments, you pretty much, it's Impact minus Parasite plus Teep, and I was a little bit worried from the outside looking in on how this one was going to work because the three of the Impact players, such good friends. How was Teep going to fit into that mix, right? But it ends up doing a little bit of research. Killa is a huge fan of Teep. Killa respects Teep a lot, one of the people that he loves in the community, so they've been working very well together.
Awesome. We gotta love that combo. Looking at Miracles as well, World Championship from Black Ops 2, one of the most exciting SMG players back then, and really, when I first was watching Miracle's gameplay, the one thing that stood out to me was his decision-making. It's not to shoot every single person you see, shoot at the right times, and he would always kind of bait the first guy and then pick up a double kill, which was something that no one else was doing back at the start of Black Ops 2. Everyone was just going for every single kill possible. He was outthinking his opponents in a lot of situations.
Miracle's one of the most underrated players in Call of Duty. I think, without a doubt, one of the most talented players that we have in all of Advanced Warfare, Ghosts, Black Ops 2, just a player we don't really talk about. I mean, we talk about him on these top tier teams, but we never, when you're making a top 10 or a top list, you never, he's not one of the names that immediately comes to the line, but Miracle's one of the better players in Advanced Warfare and Call of Duty.
Well, this is interesting here because you have two teams that bombed out. You have Optic Nation and Elevate coming together for the Optic Nation lineup. Elevate, though, is going to be starting fresh. Spacely, really the only person staying there. That Study's playing with FaZe Black at the moment for Champs and looking to play through the qualifier. But Elevate built the team that Spacely wanted.
It's the MW team.
Most wanted.
It's literally the MW team. So you're going to get Spacely, Huddle, Slacked, and Classic. What's really weird for me about this team is that maybe 2 days prior, Slacked had kind of, threw Classic under the bus a little bit.
Yeah, Classic used his gamer tag. Slacked made it known, and Justice forfeited their maps, not being able to play in Season 1.
Right, which, when looking back at it, would this team have played under Justice and had the league spot already if Slack didn't do that?
Yeah, or
probably would have.
What if Spacely just stayed on Justice?
I mean, Slack.
No, Spacely at the start of the Season 1.
Oh, right.
Because he left for Elevate. He thought he was going to find greener pastures playing with Killa and Miracles, instead of just holding that spot, which later became Enables.
I mean, they were in a great spot to keep that, but now they're going to have to requalify. But
I like it, though. Most Wanted was a fantastic squad at the end of Ghost. They finished top 3, only losing to Noble. It was like a round 11 Octane S&D moment, and really it was Sender who came out on top. Noble ended up getting second.
Something about those players together that, the Spacely Slacked Huddle combination, that they just work extremely well together. Not the players that we talk about, at the top, never going into a tournament. Nobody's going to say, I got MW to win. But they're always at the end of the weekend, they're always in the top 4. And you're just kind of like, what happened? But they always have very strong placing. Definitely, I think if this team stays together, we will see them in a grand finals at some point this year.
I'm also really excited.
Very well.
That was a strong call. You'll see them in a grand finals.
If they stay together at some point this year, you will see them in the finals of a tournament.
Matt's calling it. I like that call. Huddle, he was kind of the one who got the short end of the stick Season 1.
Yes.
He was kind of they questioned his commitment time-wise to the game. He was playing hockey. I know they're going back with him. So Huddle must still be crushing these days in AR. Or, excuse me, in Advanced Warfare, and I can't wait to see him back on the sticks with the support of Spacely and Slack and Classic around him.
They're a fun team to watch. Classic's a very underrated player as well. Does very well in the slaying department. I remember the first event I saw him play at, it was Columbus for Ghosts. And I remember replays, they picked him up, and you were kind of like, who is Classic? I've never heard of this guy.
Kid, dropping 11 in a row.
And yeah, and dropping 40s and respawns, just playing very well. Definitely still brings that in this game. Very talented player. Part of that Justice lineup that we didn't talk a lot about, but at the beginning of the game, at that lifespan, that first 2 months, two most consistent teams online and LAN, looking at both. Obviously, we don't have a lot to judge off, but it was Justice and Optic Gaming. So you got to think the players on Justice were playing pretty well.
Well, speaking of Justice, Justice pulled the plug on their old team,
yes.
And they are starting fresh. It was announced earlier last week. Methods, the captain of the new lineup, playing alongside of Felony. Do you remember their two teammates?
Felony, Nox.
Nox, yep.
Methods. Trying to think of the last one.
We're blanking on him.
Blanking completely.
But it was basically a surprise. I was like, really, this is the squad you're putting together?
Kind of came out of nowhere.
For Justice. Especially Nox, a name that we haven't seen in the top 4, the semifinals of any of our 2Ks, 5Ks. Really haven't seen that name
I haven't seen him too much at all, so Method's kind of going out on a limb.
Yeah, so Method's trying something new here with Justice. And then finally, Automatic Reload. We know BL Fire is playing with Burns for the Call of Duty Championship. Anticity on that lineup as well. Who are they going to be playing with? Who is their starting lineup for Season 2? Because they tied Rise Nation overall when it came to match count. They were tied for that 8th place spot. The reason they lost was map total.
They're going with the same lineup. It's going to be Wheats, BL Fire, Anticity.
They are keeping Wheats, okay.
Yep. I think personally, if this team would have moved into that team house maybe a week earlier, they would have qualified. I think they just needed that one extra week. Once they got in the team house, they had a 4-2 week. Last week, they finished really strong. One more week, they probably would have qualified. I fully expect if they're still in the house for them to make it through the relegation tournament.
All right, someone in the chat, Carthage, I want to give you a shout out. He said, I miss Noble. I want Noble back. Noble was so good at the end of Season 1, had some issues with the org, and the players went different places. Now we're seeing the squad kind of slowly come back together with Miyagi, Sender, and Chino officially part of the Rise Nation lineup. What are the chances we see Slasher leaving FaZe one day and coming back?
0.
0 chance.
Going to officially
0.
Sorry, Carthage, I'm going to kill your dream, and I will tell you that will never happen.
Ever?
Will never happen.
Why not?
Because I think only better things happen. No.
Slasher's upgraded?
I think Slasher's put himself in a different pool or group of players to be selected from. Right, so we usually always see, let's say, Merc is making a roster change, whatever. They usually, outside of this one, go for the same type of players. Usually see, Cap, Merc, Clay, Teep, Scump, all those guys, Proof, pretty much you look back through COD history, they all kind of just...
a little triangle at the top.
Right, they all just kind of swap teams. Like, it's all the same players, it's the same 12 players, just mixed up, put on different teams. I think that player pool is growing a little bit.
Yeah.
I think Slash is part of that.
I think Slasher is a big piece, and I think one of the big signs of that was Aches, out of all the players he could pick from.
Vouching for Slasher, yep.
Going with Slasher, winning a championship with Slasher, and then when he had the option to rebuild a team for champs, sticking with Slasher.
And I think that was also Slasher, kind of committed to Aches a little bit when he was like, nope, I was pretty much teamless.
It's like, Aches, we're together now. That got your hands so warm.
I know, I told you I was hot.
That's amazing. Sorry.
Great hands. Anyway.
I can't wait for the memes on Twitter, guys. Just bring them on.
Yeah, just keep bringing them. No, he kind of had no team, and I don't think everybody wanted Slasher as that 4th player for FaZe, but Aches really kind of pushed for it. So I think there's some kind of level where Slasher is committed to Aches that is like, well, he gave me my chance. I kind of have to wait it out.
It's going to wait it out. Probably to a championship match against Optic Gaming for $1 million. Well, $400,000 at the $1 million tournament.
Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting. You got the same prediction here? Are we both going Optic Gaming FaZe Mint in the grand finals?
I think so. I want to see how the next month plays out. I asked Ben the other day. I'll ask you. You are picking it. Champs happens tomorrow.
Yep.
Optic Gaming can't go.
Nice.
What's the final?
My first instant team that jumped in my brain, Denial. Denial in the final. Feel like they just got consistency on that lineup.
Attach's first champs.
First champs. You don't get nervous though. Attach, like, he shines if you put him in a pressure situation.
Do you think Zuma gets nervous
Columbus
first
Open.
champs?
No, yeah, a little bit, but
Slasher
I
get
think
nervous.
like at champs especially, there's almost a whole nother level of isolation. You come to the MLG events and there's about 10 feet from you in the crowd. Champs, there's a good 30 feet and like a giant statue in the front. That's your trophy, and you know, a few other bells and whistles. So I think those guys could get nervous, but as soon as they're in a booth, they go back to their selves.
I think FaZe Red or Denial. That would kind of be my two thinking as well. I can't see. It's such a toss-up.
I want to say Envy, but they were too inconsistent at the end of season 1.
Envy hasn't shown me anything that would lead me to believe that it's turned around anytime soon.
They did crush their qualifier, but so did everyone. Everyone in the top
really
16 crushed their qualifier. So, yeah. I
and
think,
another team.
I think this North American Regional Finals is going to be a huge testament of who is actually the top squads in the U.S. right now.
Could you see ON making a run?
No. Yes. Kind of. I'm so confused about that team after their season 1 bombing. I'm like, I can't bet on you anymore. If this is Vegas, I'm not putting my money anywhere near you guys.
But can you say that?
Because the matches I expect you to lose, you win, and the matches you're expected to win, you lose.
Who's a stronger team right now? Right now. Envy or ON?
Envy or ON? ON.
Who's a stronger team right now? ON or Denial?
Denial.
At LAN?
At LAN. Online. All of the above.
You can make a case that ON is in the top 3 to 4 right now.
How do you make that case? They haven't played anyone.
They've been looking really good online. Their scrims looking pretty good in their 2Ks, 5Ks.
I haven't caught any of their scrims. So again, I haven't seen these guys. I can't wait to see them after the season 1 playoffs. We'll see them play in the relegation tournament itself. So do you know how that works, by the way? Is it a double in bracket, top 3 move in?
Right, so the relegation tournament is going to be the one team TR that moved on from relegation tournament 1.
Yep.
Then the tournament that's going to happen starting tonight and going into tomorrow. It's going to be 3 teams from that, so that's going to be your 4. Then you're going to have your 4 that are already in that bottom 4 from the Pro League season. They're going to go into a double in bracket.
Now, will you match up round 1 against a season 1 team guaranteed, or is it all based off of pro points?
I would imagine that you face off against the round 1 team guaranteed. That's how I think it would work.
That's how I would assume it would. But with our pro points being used for everything, and these being fresh rosters, I have no idea if you have any
That's a good point.
Extra seeding for Justice, for example.
Well, it might be how you finished in the season. So maybe ON, who finished all the way at the bottom, will play the
top seed
from these tournaments.
All right, I need to get more info on this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to hook up with Jason Nye, John Nelson. We're going to get the numbers from League Ops team.
That would be awesome.
Those guys know their stuff. I'm excited. Guys in the chat, who do you think is getting through to Season 2? Only 4 teams are going to be added to join our top 8 from Columbus. Matt and I got some predictions. Let's do that right now, in fact.
Yes.
Our 4 teams that are coming through after everything is said and done. Strictly Business is going to be my first pick, even though they're on the fence for the qualifier tonight and tomorrow. I think Strictly Business, without a doubt, missed out on Season 1. They're going to do everything in their power to get a top 4 spot.
You know, looking at these teams that are trying to get in, I can't see them getting in.
Optic Nation?
I think Optic Nation gets in. You gonna call me crazy?
Wait, Strictly Business. So Fizz, Neslo, John, and Dito. We got the graphic up here. Why not? Why not on this squad?
I think there's too much, hostility on this team. That's the word I would use.
Who needs to simmer down?
Yeah, I think between Fizz, Dito, Neslo, there's a lot of personality there.
Yeah, personality. That's a good way to describe it.
I think that one, when it goes south, it goes south real fast.
Okay.
I mean, it just nosedives. I think that's a team that, we saw it in the series against TR. Things didn't go well first map, carried over. So
okay.
I think that's a team
I've also seen them, though, way back at one of the 5K finals.
They go higher.
Constant complimenting and getting excited for each other. Fizz had a terrible game, but the rest of the other 3 were playing really well, and he was just super complimentary towards everything, and they said at the end, yo, Fizz, good job holding down this lane. It allowed me to do X, Y, and Z. So if they can be positive SB, you're going to have a much better chance.
The other night,
but you're worried about the attitudes on this squad.
The other night when we watched in the finals, I saw the finals versus TR. It was a little bit of that. Neslo struggled a little bit first map. They gave him host, and the big thing was, if you have host on hard point, you got to go off.
You got to drop 40.
You got to drop numbers. Didn't do that. They kind of got on him for that. He went, it just carried over.
Got it.
Teams that I would look out for, personally. I think ON gets back in.
Optic Nation, yep, that was number 2 on my list.
Number 2 on my list, going to be Team Revenge.
Whoa! All right, so here's Karma. You know those guys, TP, yes. Miracles, Kill.
We all know those guys.
Revenge, though, you're going Nagafen, Remy, Facento, and I can't even name their fourth
their
right
roster.
now.
It was Steven, not Steven anymore.
Not
They get in. They are a very strong online team. First 2K we saw them, it was either 2K or, no, it was a 5K. First 5K we saw them play as an actual lineup. They got to the finals, played pretty well. I think this is a team that definitely gets by. I think online helps them a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they definitely get in.
Which is great because the season 2 is going to be online. So.
Right. I think AR, they get back in.
Really?
I think playing in the house, they get back in. And then the last spot, I want to say Elevate. It's either going to be between Elevate or FaZe Black.
So Justice out, FaZe Black out if Elevate goes through.
If FaZe Black, if Proof and Study stay at the FaZe house and they play it from there, I can see them going in over
Are those
Elevate.
dudes in Long Island right now?
Yes.
Dude, we should go visit.
It's
coming to hang out, Proof.
Let's do it.
We're doing it. In fact, you come to us. We have the city.
Yeah.
You come to us. But
nothing that good on Long Island.
Oh, no. Nothing.
All right. Yeah, bagels. Bagels good. But there's bagels here, too.
Huh. All right. Well, all right. So your final 4 were Optic Nation. You didn't go strictly business. You went FaZe Black, AR, and TR. And TR.
I want to say elevate FaZe Black for me is a toss-up. I think TR is so strong online that they get in.
Got it. Man, I don't even know how to pick anymore. I really wanted to go with strictly business.
Did I throw a curveball there?
Yeah. Justice doesn't get in.
No, I don't think Justice gets in.
I think they have a tough time.
I think out of the teams that are already set, I think they're one team that I just don't think will get in.
Well, they got some luck. They got some luck there. They're starting off in the bracket. They don't have to play through. So Justice, lots of time to warm up. They don't have Season 1. They don't have COD Champs. They're going to be on the grind.
They should be practicing, yeah.
They'll be on the grind. AR, I'm not 100% sold on that team, but they were performing pretty well towards the end of the season, trying to rank up there to get in the top 8, falling just short. Not sold on AR that weekend. I think it'll be SB or AR, much like the COD our opener for Advanced Warfare. AR got through, SB fell that round short. Will it be flipped this time?
That'll be a fun matchup to watch again, if that's the matchup for them to get in, if it's AR versus SB, kind of revenge game for SB.
I'm thinking about the double elimination bracket real quick before we end this segment. One team is going to go through as the clear winner, right? You get to the winner's bracket finals, you're guaranteed a spot.
Yes.
You get to the semifinals, you're guaranteed top 6, right? So if you win your first round, guaranteed top 6.
Win first round, guaranteed top 6.
So you win your second round, you're guaranteed top 3, and you're in.
Oh, top 3.
You win the winner's bracket finals, you're getting the number 1 spot, of course. Then there's going to be the loser's bracket finalist. That's guaranteed top 2. Then you have your losers semifinal who's third. So there is going to be a constellation match for that 4th spot. And I think that is going to be the most exciting match of the entire tournament.
Well, even with tonight's tournament, starting top 3 gets in. So there's going to be a constellation match when it gets to the semifinal on, tomorrow.
Jesus.
Awesome. Jesus.
So much COD.
So it's great.
Oh, my goodness. I'm excited again, man. Season 2 is going to be kicking off. We're going to see all kinds of trades, roster mania. And then, of course, we got COD Champs is going to be coming right around the corner. So crazy 2 months here. And, of course, we're kicking off the cast-off tomorrow.
I'm excited.
We've got all the submissions in. My interns have been going through everything. Emails have been sent out to a lot of people just making sure they can
Ben is so mean.
Appear on the show. What's that?
Ben is so mean when we watch the cast-off stuff.
Oh, when we watch the submissions, Ben is Simon Cowell, without a doubt.
Me and Puckett are trying to be like, oh, yeah. I like it. Ben gets up, hit the button, turn it off.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
I'm judging people on 5 categories. Ben is like Nope, I don't like this one category. Throw them out.
If Puckett thinks they're good, I just kind of, I'm like, yeah, sure, fine.
Yeah. 10 years of experience. I know what you need. All right, guys. We're going to commercial break. When we come back, Ben is joining Matt for the AMA. Get your questions in right now on Reddit if you haven't already. They got a speed round. They'll be taking questions from the chat and Twitter.
Yeah, why not?
Do all the things. Be right back.